Shadow of Destiny, or Shadow of Memories as it was known over here in the UK, was the third PlayStation 2 game I ever purchased. It came 4 months after the console's November 2000 launch, which I naturally bought immediately, and I managed to complete Konami's quirky adventure game fairly quickly, never returning to it since. Out of all those launch titles I had, I kind of stuck with Time Splitters or Tekken Tag Tournament far more often, yet the images of Shadow of Destiny still stuck with me for so many years, to the point where I still kept my original purchase. I remember being wowed by the graphics, totally immersed by the distinctly Bavarian town, and gripped by the time-travelling mystery contained within. It's been almost 20 years since I played it, so I was a little anxious to revisit it, to see if my fond memories still hold weight or whether they'll be overshadowed by the ravages of time. You play as a lanky tourist named Ike Kusch, and as the game begins, we start off with your death. You are stabbed in the back in a side alley of a German town called Lebensbaum.
What the... what's going on? What on earth could have happened? Am I dead?
But this isn't the end of Ike though, as none other than Satan himself gives you aid to solve the mystery of your death.
Of course not. I get it. You're the Big S, the devil. In exchange for your immortal soul and all that, am I right?
And he does this by giving you the ability to travel through time to prevent your murder and unmask your killer. But there's something about this effeminate deity, voiced by Mario's Charles Martinet no less.
It's me, Mario!
Excuse me, what do you think you're doing?
That appears somewhat off. This plot does allow for some interesting gameplay. You get to explore the town, then change it by going back in time. Your initial death, for example, is scuppered by inviting a load of residents to loiter in the area at the time when you'll be stabbed.
You want me to come to the square at 2:30? What's going to happen in the square? Performer, maybe? Well, all right. I don't have anything else to do anyway.
This will only delay the inevitable, where your next assailant will be hiding in the foliage of a tree in the town centre. So what do you do to prevent this? Well, you stop the tree from even being planted, and you do this by going back to the Middle Ages. Depending on the decisions you make here, you can either replace it with a nice flower garden, or a statue of Ike himself. Many puzzles are solved in different ways, with equally entertaining outcomes. That statue you resurrect, for example, may include you holding a turn of the Millennium cell phone, making for some awkwardly brilliant comments from the residents.
Whoa! You scared me half to death!
Time travel is the crux of the gameplay, and you can travel to select time periods with your digipad. This is given to you by that devil of indeterminate gender, who will later introduce themselves as Humunculus.
Not that there's much in a name. I've been waiting a long time to see you again.
If you have the energy, you can travel to any predetermined moment in time, although initially only a few are open to you. The top right of your screen will indicate how many energy units you currently hold, with a maximum capacity of 10. These can be found in the game world as glowing green orbs, and are usually replenished whenever you travel back to that time period. I never really came close to running out, but I can imagine first-time players doing so later on in the game, where multiple time periods are opened up to you, and trial and error and experimentation are needed to progress the story. But in a way, the game rewards this. If you do a fair amount of exploration, you'll likely find enough energy to do a great amount of experimentation. It helps that it's pretty hard to out and out die. Well, you do die. Quite often, in fact, thinking about is a game over.
It is difficult, after all, isn't it, to change one's very destiny?
There's only one way you can get a game over, and that requires you to pay attention to the time. When visiting the past, the clock still ticks in the present, and if you reach your time of death while in another time, the continuum will short circuit and not even Homunculus can resurrect you. The trick is to return to the present at the time of your death so that you can come back and try again, so always have some of that energy with you. The way the game handles saves is in line with this philosophy. Permanent saves will be offered to you at the beginning of each chapter, though you have access to one temporary save at all times. These are solely used for when you want to leave the game mid-chapter, and are deleted as soon as you restore it. It's that David Cage Quantic Dream philosophy of game design, making sure you own your decisions, though I do like the more lenient approach here. All of the puzzles have a vaguely esoteric aura to them. Never once did I feel like I was working towards a solution to a problem, but I instead felt like any progression was put upon me. If I was stuck, I simply wandered the town, whenever that may be, talking to everyone until I had triggered something. Normally, I would say this would lean towards a bad, unfocused game design, but for some reason I believe it fits quite well here. The nature of the story and presentation have a weird mystical feeling, and this puzzle design complements that perfectly. The graphics add to this Lynchian atmosphere too. I remember marvelling at the game's look, at how the eyes had actual eyeballs instead of painted textures, how each finger is individually modelled instead of going for a mitten shape to save polygons. This was going from the PlayStation 1 to the PlayStation 2, and it really showed the power difference.
I don't want to die.
The look is also overly clean and shiny, almost like mannequins in a diorama. This perhaps dates the game somewhat, but it also provides each character with an uncanny air of unreadable mystery. And as for the voice acting, well, it's equally strange.
Actually, I just happened to stop by, and I was wondering if you could tell me my fortune. Am I going to die soon?
For you, I will do it for free.
Thanks. I really need this. Please, don't just give me the usual niceties. This is very serious for me.
Don't worry.
The lines of dialogue are deliberate and perfunctory, performed in an almost emotionless inflection that perfectly encapsulates the tone of the game. If you think they don't add anything, try the PSP version released in 2009. They re-recorded the dialogue with different voice actors with an aim to make it sound better, but it fails. The new dub forgets that Shadow of Memories was supposed to be, above all else, a little weird.
Am I dead?
Bingo.
Who's there?
How does it feel to be dead, right?
That's enough. Who are you? Are you making fun of me?
Not at all. I beg your pardon if I've offended you. You are strongly fated today. You see, you are destined to die.
What?
Upon playing the game again, my memories of my first playthrough back in March of 2001 came out of the shadows. I fondly recalled the exhilaration of that burning building, the odd behaviour of the medieval wenches, or that strange man eating spaghetti in the cafe.
Sir?
I remember plot points and actions giving me heads up on certain scenarios, and it got to the point where I could complete an entire chapter in about 10 seconds, and this is because I knew exactly how to prepare for it. Every chapter has multiple ways to complete it, and it rewards multiple playthroughs and knowledge of what is to come. So decisions made in earlier moments can directly affect how later scenes play out. It gets to the point where there's multiple different endings, 6 in total, and they're all pretty unique and well written. That's some amazing attention to detail. Despite Shadow of Memories being its original Japanese name, I do believe the American title of Shadow of Destiny is a far more fitting title. While the game does occasionally play on recollections, the main theme is much more about fate and playing with perceived inevitability. It's a game with many layers ripe for discussion, and if you haven't played it, it's about time you step out of the shadows and make your own memories of it. It holds up incredibly well.
There was someone behind me. Oh, but it looks like the crowd scared him off.
Okay, thank you for watching. If you want to make your own memories of this game, please follow the link below to find out how to get it working on Windows 10. Remember to like, share and subscribe and do all that kind of stuff that helps us grow as a channel. And with that, I hope to see you next time on The Collection Chamber.